What's up, you guys? Today I want to talk about training for building more muscle. And it came because I was getting a lot of requests on Twitter for Gary's exact workout plan. So I just wrote a blog post that I'll link down below where you can see his exact programming, and he's building muscle right now. In the process of writing that post, I realized there are so many concepts here that are relevant to all of us and questions that I receive all the time about building muscle and training in general. So I'm just gonna spitball for a few minutes here, or maybe longer, about Gary's plan, but really about strength training for building muscle in general. So the first thing I want to talk about is training frequency. A question I'm often asked is, should I be training 3 days a week? This guy says I need to train 5 or 6 days a week. This guy on Instagram trains 2 a days, 7 days a week. What do I need to be doing? Any of them. Like, they all work. If you are adding weight to the bar over time, if you are getting in there consistently, then going 3 times or 4 times or 5 times or 6 times per week is going to yield results. What is optimal? Optimal is what you can stick to, right? If you can't get in there 7 days a week because you don't have time or you don't have energy or you don't like training that much right now and you would rather do 3 days a week, do 3 days a week. But I have seen crazy transformations on 3-day-a-week programs. I've seen guys put on a lot of muscle, strength training 5 days a week with like a couple extra days of whether it's yoga or cardio or direct ab training or anything. Even like body part splits I've seen work successfully for 7 days a week. Now, there are some differences. If you're training 3 days a week, you can in general go heavier, you can do a little bit more volume per day. You can tax your central nervous system more because you have those rest days, whereas training 7 days a week, if you went all out and trained to failure on many sets for 7 days, you're just gonna burn out more quickly. But whatever you wanna do is what you should do. Gary's training 7 days a week because Gary's a momentum guy. He doesn't wanna miss a day. He just goes. And if that's you, awesome. But he's not lifting heavy 7 days a week right now. And I mentioned his exact program, like exercise, sets, reps, everything. Links to form videos are in that blog post. But he has a pull day, a back and bicep day, Monday, Tuesday, direct ab training and stretching. We've been doing a lot of like stretching and yoga stuff, which has helped his, like, mainly focused on hips and glutes and lower back. For some lower back pain he's been having. Wednesday is often a cardio day. Thursday is arm day. So bro. Friday's yoga, Saturday legs, Sunday chest. Now, we're not just hitting one muscle on all of those days, right? Like, we're hitting some arm on chest day. We're hitting some chest on arms day. We're hitting some legs on his pull day. We're hitting some arms on his pull day, right? What we're targeting is twice per week per muscle group. What else do we have here? Ab day. You might hear that and be like, what? I thought you didn't have to train abs. If someone is training 7 days per week and that person doesn't have a ton of training experience and doesn't have super well developed abs, like if you've seen me on Instagram or whatever, I have well developed abs, meaning I trained them a lot when I was younger and like in my 20s, and so I have deeper grooves. I just have like bigger abdominal muscles. So even at a little bit higher body fat percentage, my abs are gonna show through more than someone else's, all else equal. Gary hasn't done a ton of direct ab training in his life. So even though training abs during this bulk phase where we're in a calorie surplus isn't going to lead to more ab definition in the near term, when we lean out come February or March, after several months of being in a deficit, his ab muscles are gonna show through sooner. They're gonna look better from the ab training. Now, is that high priority? If like we had to cut out several days, would we keep the ab day? No, that would be one of the first things to go. Because you do get a lot of strength work, you get a lot of ab training from doing compound movements, as you've probably heard me say. But because we're training 7 days a week, because we have 7 hours a week, I think that dedicating 20 to 25 minutes, or maybe even more, over the course of the week, probably 35 to 40 minutes to direct ab training makes sense for him. Something else you might be wondering about is cardio. Why are we doing cardio? Why do we have a cardio day here in a calorie surplus? Don't you just have to eat more food to offset that? I don't like recomposition a lot, so we're not trying to get leaner while building muscle. I know he's gaining a little bit of body fat to accompany the muscle gain that's going on in this August to March period of time. Why do we have a cardio day? Studies have shown that cardiovascular activity increases insulin sensitivity. Insulin sensitivity leads to better calorie partitioning. So by doing a little bit of cardio, having increased insulin sensitivity, Gary's body or your body or my body, I walk and I'm in a calorie surplus right now. I walk probably 30 to 60 minutes, 3 days a week. Doing some cardio, and by the way, I'm just walking like to the office, so it's productive cardio. But doing that is going to increase calorie partitioning, is going to increase the way that our bodies use excess calories toward either fat storage or muscle recovery. So that's why we have the cardio day. Generally, probably 60-40 low intensity, just walking on the treadmill 45 to 60 minutes. If it's a time crunch, we'll do high intensity, throw them on the bike. And right now we've been going like 30 seconds on, 45 seconds off for his high intensity interval training for 20 to 25 minutes, which includes a 4-minute warm up and a 2-minute cool down. So probably like 18 minutes of real hit. So that's why we're doing cardio in a bulk. What else? What else do we have here? He trains every day. He's a momentum guy. So what we are measuring, muscle gain is slow. Even for someone who is like more of a beginner like GV, we're 16 months into this. And we've only been training for muscle gain exclusively, probably 7 of those 16 months. Muscle gain for anyone is very difficult to measure, right? Like what we would have to do is get accurate body fat percentage and measure changes in the scale and body fat percentage to see how much lean mass is going up. And even still, you need a lot of data points over quite a bit of time. Like we're talking months at least to be able to have statistically verifiable changes. That sounds like some weird scientific bullshit, but really what I mean is because the scale weight varies so much in the short term based on factors that aren't related to muscle or fat, like water or carb storage or food in your colon or whatever, like all of those things that I've talked about in blog posts about scale weight, because it moves up and down like that, we can't get a super accurate measure of total lean mass of muscle gained in a shorter period of time. Luckily, in a calorie surplus, muscle gain is correlated, not like directly one-to-one correlated, but is at least loosely correlated with strength gains. And strength gains are easy to measure, right? Write it down. How much weight did you do? How many reps? What was the date? Boom, boom, boom. I obviously track all of that for Gary. For my online clients, they track it themselves and many of them send it to me. By tracking strength gains and trying to make strength gains and playing in the 4 to 6 rep range and the 8 to 10 rep range and the 10 to 12 rep range and trying to, there's another thing, like which is best? Yes, do some strength work, but play in all rep ranges, try to get better in all rep ranges, strength and hypertrophy rep ranges. And as your numbers go up, you're going to see muscle gain over time. So how are we measuring his muscle gain? We're measuring his strength gains, and we know that they are correlated, so we know that he is gaining muscle. Meal timing is an interesting one. Meal timing and like carb to fat ratio. I know I wasn't going to talk a ton about nutrition, but this is relevant because Gary eats dinner at nice restaurants, and like it doesn't even have to be nice restaurants. Nice restaurants serve a lot of high fat meals because nice restaurants need food to be tasty so that they can sell more food. So there's like basically all restaurants too. There's butter, there's oils, there's a lot of sodium, which isn't that relevant here, but there's more fat in his dinner than I would love for him to be having. Even if he's having like a lean fish, I would imagine it's prepared with oil. I would imagine it has 14 to 18 more grams of fat than I want. So what I do is keep his protein and carbs high during the day, because I want him to get close on his macros for the entire day, and I know that that dinner is going to be higher fat than I would love. Is he giving away progress by not having the perfect protein, carb, fat breakout for each meal throughout the day? Probably not. Like maybe like 0.001% progress. Actually, no, I can't even think of a reason why loading dietary fat for the day at night, as long as your macros for the day are on point, is a bad thing. So what we do is lunch is very lean, like egg whites, salad, grilled chicken, and then carbs that he likes, bananas, other fruit, grape nuts. Like he's super into grape nuts. We don't cut out any specific foods. He was just in Orlando with his family for 4 days and like indulged in some ice cream and had some ribs. Like dairy isn't the devil and gluten isn't the devil. He eats mainly whole foods and eats like probably 90% whole foods, but indulges here and there. Has a random muffin from time to time. But having his numbers on point and being in a calorie surplus and having adequate protein, which he's weighing in, what are GB stats? 5'8", 172, and probably 16% body fat right now. And I'm making sure he gets at least 150 grams of protein per day, which is a little bit above a gram per pound of lean mass, and keeping calories in a surplus. So for him, 2,600 on training days, and then for like the random 1 or 2 travel days in there, if he has a yoga day, if he has a cardio day, calories will fall in the 1,800 to 2,000 range, though I am okay if they're still in that 2,600 range, just because his muscles are still repairing. We're training 5 days a week, so even being in a surplus on rest days is okay with me for the gains. Okay, so we talked about lifestyle, surplus on training days, trying to get stronger, train abs simply because we have the time in the gym, and training abs directly does help develop the ab muscles. Train every day because that's what he likes doing, but pare down on volume per day a little bit and pare down on intensity on many of those days. As you see in the training program, he isn't doing reverse pyramid style training close to failure 7 days a week, right? He's doing it on a few specific moves that we're really seeking to get stronger at. That's it. Let me know if you have questions, post them below. See you guys.